books for pleasure. They tend not to be YA. I do read a lot of YA books for work, which is books for blurbing. You know, a lot of books when they're coming out. You know, when you pick up a book and it's got a blurb on the cover and it says, you know, so-and-so famous author said that this book is totally awesome and you should totally buy it. It's called blurbing, and what it is, you know, before a book is published, a publisher will decide what authors would be a good fit, whose authors' fan bases would be a good fit for this book. And so then they contact authors and they say, would you be interested, willing to read this book and possibly blurb it? I have 6 in my inbox right now that I have to get to by the middle of November. So those sort of come first, and then reading for pleasure sort of comes after. My reading for pleasure is mysteries. I love a good mystery. I love old school Victorian horror. So, like The Woman in Black, you know, things that evoke sort of like a foggy London landscape with a serial killer on the loose or something like that. That would be, I like the atmosphere of a Victorian story. I like Gothic fiction a lot. I wish there was more of that in YA. That would be something fun. Yeah. Well, like Maureen Johnson did it with The Name of the Rose, which I really enjoyed, and there's a Southern Gothic out with Harper right now called The Dolls. It's kind of based with like voodoo, kind of like a southerny thing. I haven't read it yet, but I have it at home. But I like that kind of like very atmospheric type of horror as opposed to, some of my books are a little bit more like slasher oriented. But I think that the collective horror has become, there's been a resurgence with things like American Horror Story on FX. Getting great ratings. I think television, especially in the drama side, has skewed darker in the last few years.
Following?
Yeah, the following.
Good God.
And you know, cable has upped the ante a little bit because the networks don't have complete control over television anymore. For a long time, there were 4 networks, and they ruled the roost because they were the only ones that bought TV shows, so they could control content and style. And with cable buying shows, you know, something you'd see on FX or HBO, for example, that's going to be darker, it's going to be grittier, and it gives sort of a wider range to possibility. American Horror Story would never be picked up on CBS, you know, but finding a place on FX and finding a big audience as they have has been great. So I would love to see more horror in YA. I know there's some books coming out, 2015. I know Poppy Little Brown has one, and Harlequin Teen has one coming out. So it is out there if you like scary books. But yes, for a while, everything was romanticized. Vampires weren't scary, and werewolves were romantic and dateable, and demons were hot, and I wanted to go back to a place of the things that scared me. Because when I was a kid, I wanted to read a book with the light on at night, where like, when you turn the light off, and you sit there for a second, then you turn the light back on, because you're not sleeping in the dark after reading what you just read. And that was my reading experience as a teen, and so I wanted to sort of recreate that.
I always took those to the beach.
Yeah. It's safer at the beach, right?
Yeah. Stephen King read everyone on the beach.
He can still get you at the beach.
The shark.
Other questions? Anything else?
Do you ever miss your opera singing?
I do miss singing. Singing was my first career love. I'd sung and been on stage since I was a kid. I moved to opera in high school. I was good enough at it to get to a certain point in the career. I think I was not good enough to get beyond that. When I left, it was a very difficult decision. I did sort of fall into, as Jessica mentioned, this circus troupe in Los Angeles called Cirque Berserk, which is sort of like a creepy, gritty Cirque du Soleil. And we did shows in 2008, 2009, 2011. We haven't done anything since, unfortunately. But that gave me stage experience again that I so sort of desperately needed. And even doing events like this in front of people, it's not performing a role on a stage in an opera with an orchestra. But to some extent, it is a public appearance, and it sort of scratches that itch that I get every once in a while. But I do miss it, and I do tear up sometimes when I hear my favorite aria on the radio. So it is what it is. Like, life doesn't always work out the way you think it is. I thought that was going to be what I did, and that would be it, and it just doesn't always work out. And sometimes you just gotta, when the road turns, you just gotta see where it takes you, and it's gotten me here, which is strange and new and exciting, and something I'm gonna run with.
Need a horse.